Before we begin our meeting, we would like to acknowledge the Kriyakwin Mi'kmaq, the ancestral and unceded territory of the Mi'kmaq people. I would like to call to order the Committee of the Whole meeting for Thursday, May 8th, 2025 at 7 p.m. We have all councillors in attendance this evening. Are there any approval of or changes to the agenda? Councillor Osborne.
I have a couple, actually. First, I'd like to add an in-camera session for personnel matters under number 14. And then I would like to move the 2025-2026 budget up to the first item. So that would be 9A. And then step MOU would be B, town vehicle purchase would be C, town hall building would be D.
Any other changes?
If not, I will make a motion that we approve the agenda as amended.
I'll second it.
Perfect. Any question? Or sorry, discussion on the motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Are there any disclosure of interest on the agenda items? Alright. We have no approval of minutes or announcements of proclamations.
Do we not have April 10th committee of the whole minutes? And in our package.
Okay.
Okay, so there is a change. And that change is the very last motion was made by Mayor Glasser and seconded by Councillor LeBlanc, not me.
You're referencing item
The 14 out of camera. Very, very last motion, when we moved out of camera at 9:08.
Yeah, and it was moved by.
Was moved by Mayor Glasser, but seconded by Councillor LeBlanc, according to my notes.
So we have no announcements or proclamations, and we do have one presentation this evening. It's a waste management presentation.
Yeah, it's Aisha, Senior Details, the Environmental and Education Officer from the County of Colchester, who is online with us this evening.
Hello, good evening, and thank you for having me. Am I able to share my screen? Perfect. Are we all seeing the presentation here?
Yeah.
Okay. So my name's Aisha Senior Gentles, and I'm the Environmental and Education Officer for the Municipality of Colchester. So I do a lot of the solid waste education. So any solid waste material resources program that comes out of the municipality of Colchester usually comes from myself or my department. So just a little background on our solid waste facilities in Kemptown. We are located in the center of Nova Scotia, and we service the towns of Truro and Stewiacke, as well as the county of Colchester. And we service a population of 51,000. Our facility was built in 1995, but our operations didn't begin until 1996. We have over 50 employees, and we're sitting on 766 acres of land. Now, just a little highlight on our facility and what we are responsible for. So we're responsible for the recycling, organics, garbage, construction and demolition materials generated within Colchester. However, we do have recycling contracts outside of Colchester with other municipalities. For example, Pictou County, Antigonish, Guysborough, and also East Hants. So our materials recovery facility, or what we call our recycling facility, we process over 8,000 metric tons per year. And we have two sort lines. We have our paper and we have our containers. And that's why we place emphasis on residents sorting separately, paper in one bag and your containers in the next. And our residual rate last year was 34%. And what this is 34% off that 8,000 that we receive is considered garbage. And it could be a few things, contaminations or dirty recycling. Now we do receive garbage from the town of Stewiacke, the town of Truro, and also the county. We receive approximately 5,200 metric tons of residential garbage, as well as 18,000 metric tons of commercial garbage. We do try to divert as a lot of materials as possible. So we would divert our wood, our shingles, our metals, and our drywall. So we receive approximately 6,000 metric tons of residential organics, as well as over 2,000 metric tons of commercial organics. And we do have a residual rate here of 9%. And this could be a few things: contaminated organics, which could include metals or glass being accidentally thrown in the compost, or biodegradable plastic bags. Now, one thing we like to talk about is our curbside limits. So residents are allowed 12 bags of recycling, as well as 6 bags of garbage, or it could be 6 clear bags or 5 clear bags and 1 non-transparent bag. And then residents are allowed 1 green cart curbside for collection. One thing we have going on right now is 2 large items. So residents can place 2 large items curbside on their garbage collection day. And on our website, we do have what we considered acceptable bulky items versus unacceptable bulky materials. And this is a fairly new leaf collection in the town of Stewiacke. So residents in the town of Stewiacke are allowed 6 paper yard waste bags on each of their garbage collection day. And usually this happens around the 3rd week of October and ends on the last week of November. Now, we always want to ensure that our residents are kept up to date with what's going on, whether it's programs or what goes where. So we always issue our waste sorting booklets. Now, we are trying to be as inclusive as possible. So what we are doing is we have our 1-page guides where we have apartment guides, school guides, residential guides, and also our business sort guides. And what this means is that not all the materials that business put out is the same materials that apartments would put out versus schools putting out materials. We also have our language guides, which we developed last year with a professional organization. So we do have our simplified Chinese guides, Hindi, and also Arabic. Now we're just going to look at a few programs and events that we do have with the town of Stewiacke. We have our spring and fall compost giveaway, which is happening now, May 5th through to May 10th, and again in October during Waste Reduction Week. And this is free compost for residents in the county of Colchester, as well as the towns of Truro and Stewiacke. We also have our mobile waste, household hazardous waste event, which takes place in Tatamagouche, Economy, and Stewiacke every 2 years. And then in the off years, it's held at the Rath Eastlink Center. So for example, this year we will be at the Rec, and then next year we will do Tatamagouche, Economy, and also Stewiacke. We also have our household hazardous waste drop-off, and this is located at Clean Harbors in Debert, and this is free for all residents in the municipality of Colchester, as well as the towns of Truro and Stewiacke, and it happens the first Saturday of every month. We also have our paper shredding event, which is held at the Stewiacke Fire Hall, and this happens every 2 years. And then in the off years, it's held at the rec. Now, this is a program that I started, Costume Swap. So this usually happens during Waste Reduction Week. And we partner with the town of Stewiacke to host this event. And this year, 2025, will be the third time for this event, and I'm hoping to partner with the town of Stewiacke again, but our numbers keep going up every year. And this is just our way of trying to divert clothing from the landfill, so mostly costumes. We do have a few programs that we try to ensure our residents are aware of. So for example, our paint recycling program, paints, paint cans, spray paint bottles are no longer accepted curbside for collection, and they will have to be taken to an Enviro depot that's closest to you, or you'd have to take them to Clean Harbors in the Burt to be properly disposed of. And one thing we're trying to do is encourage our residents to take your refundables back. Take them back to your closest Enviro depot. One other program that is fairly new, and it was launched in August of 2024, are light bulbs. So light bulbs are no longer accepted curbside for collection, and they have to be taken to selected depots. So as of right now, we only have 2 Enviro depots that are signed up for the light program, and this is Subway Ball Exchange and TNT Recycling. For now. And then residents can also take those light bulbs to Clean Harbors in the Burt. Our recycling electronics program. So this is not new. This has been around for a little bit. I think it started back in 2018, I believe. But the program has expanded. So our scale, bathroom scales, our vacuums, fans, printers, blow dryers, any small appliance that you plug in will now have to be taken to your Enviro depot. If they're put out curbside for collection, and the drivers do see it, residents will get a rejection sticker. But any small appliance now has to be taken to an Enviro depot. And oil changing. So if you do your own oil change at home, residents can take materials back to their local garage, or they can take it to Clean Harbors in the Burt. So that's your oil filters, your oil jugs, your antifreeze, and also your aerosol cans. And one thing we do have a big problem with is sharps coming in on our recycling line. We have had staff members who've been poked by sharps. And one of the things we try to do is educate our residents on proper disposal of sharps. So the Bring Back program, I was tasked last year to go around to all the pharmacies in Colchester County and hand out little brochures. I was in Stewiacke handing out little brochures and just all over the county. And another thing that we do have an issue with is compostable plastic bags. So compostable and biodegradable plastic products such as bags, containers, cups are not accepted in the green card. There are alternatives, newspaper, paper bags, any paper products that we can use to line our green bins. But if residents happen to have compostable bags and the drivers do see it, they will give a rejection sticker. And all our resources are available online. any sort of education on provincial programs, also our mobile app, which will alert residents of any service interruptions or when's their collection. And if they're not sure what goes where, you type it in and it will tell you. And these are some of our contacts. So Robert Matheson is our manager of reduction and recovery operations. And myself, I am the education officer for any sort of solid waste education. And I think that's it for myself. Do you have any questions as it relates to solid waste?
I just want to know if the large paper bags that you say we can use from October 3rd to November for a lot of the yard waste, can we use them now if we're putting like lawn trimmings and stuff like that? And if our green bin is full and we have extra, can we put them out now and will they get taken?
No, you cannot put them out now. There is a contract with the haulers as it relates to the town of Stewiacke, and they're only picking up yard waste bags during those times, which is the third week of October to November. So I'm pretty sure maybe if you do put it out, you probably will get rejected. There are some off times where residents bins may be full, and if there's any sort of service interruptions, that is kind of an anomaly. So we do encourage residents to use the bags at that time. But as for leaves and trimmings and yard waste, that is for those allotted times in October and November. No problem.
Any other questions? Perfect. Thank you very much for your presentation.
No, thank you for having me.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Moving on to number 8, we have no written petitions or correspondence, so we'll move into 9 business. And we'll start with number A, which is the 2025-26 budget. Speaking on that, there's Helen.
I can pass over to Helen on member of finance.
Sure. There hasn't, the last budget meeting, we had a request to do some tax analysis, so that has been distributed to all the mayor and councils. Other than that, there are no other additional changes to the budget.
Are there any questions for Helen on the budget? Councilor Osborne?
Not quite sure if it's for Helen and it may be for our CAO actually. Were you able to do a cost analysis on the snow removal and the snow clearing and?
So the answer is no, we did look into it. However, the process would involve us issuing a request for information or request for proposals from contractors to actually get a cost. I did consult municipality of East Hants, who's recently gone through the process. We have all the documents ready and at our disposal, should we want to go through that process, which we can to council through the summer months to get more information.
Yeah, so we wouldn't be able to actually know what the cost comparison is if it's cost effective to do that or not unless we did an RFP. Is that my understanding?
That's correct. We could do an analysis based on, what their road networks are and, cost per kilometer. However, the situation is much different in East Hants where the contractor actually is housed in East Hants. So they have equipment, they have 24-hour staff in East Hants.
Right.
That would add a variety of variables to our costing. So it wasn't, it wasn't in our best interest to rely on their cost to make a judgment call. And that's to actually go through a process to explore properly and bring accurate numbers to the table.
So do you need a motion for us to do that with the budget or would you
No,
just do that?
we can definitely explore that on our end. Releasing a request for information to get information from contractors is not something we need a motion on.
Okay, perfect.
Any other questions on the budget? Sorry, Councilor Osborne?
I just have one more, and that's just the yearly raises for staff. I just didn't see like normally CPI according to our policy, so I just didn't
Yes.
see, so was CPI
It's
built in? Okay.
yes, and it's 2%. CPI was 1.7 this year, so it's one.
So,
It's possibly,
so it's 1.7 or is it 2?
it's 2.
So what is the CPI actually? Because it is actually supposed to be CPI.
Yes, it's 1.7 from the province, according to our policy, that gets bumped up to 2%.
Is it a minimum of 2?
It's a minimum of 2.
Okay.
With a maximum of 5.
Right. Okay. Perfect. All I had.
Any other questions? Would we like to make a motion?
I will, I want to make the motion that, we recommend to council that the general operating budget for fiscal year 25-26. And that the residential tax rate remain the same at the 1.58, and the commercial tax rate would remain the same at 3.45 cents.
Moved by Mayor Glasser,
And I second it.
seconded by Councilor LeBlanc.
Yeah, stop making notes while it's.
Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. 9B is the STEP MOU.
We're gonna do the other budgets.
Oh, sorry, yeah. Do the water utility.
Water utility was passed.
Yeah,
Okay, capital.
capital. So general capital, general, and then the water utility capital.
Right. Do you have any questions or
Do you want to do the general first or?
yeah.
I'll make a motion that we accept the general capital budget 3-year plan as presented.
Moved by Councilor Osborne, seconded by Councilor Leeds. Any question? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Do, water?
Water capital.
Yeah.
I'll make that motion that we recommend to council, that we recommend to council the water utility budget for the 3-year plan as presented.
Moved by Councilor Osborne. Seconded by Mayor Glasser. Discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carried.
It for budget. Cartel.
That's it.
All four motions in place.
Great. And now we'll, I guess, move on to 9B, which is the STEP MOU. I do, Ms. Richard, you're.
Yeah, so it's actually the MOU for the Central Nova Scotia Tourism Development Society. So in February, council approved the strategic tourism expansion program. And within that program, we were to follow some action items as recommendations. We had a nomination for Councilor Osborne to be on the executive committee, and now we're at the process of creating a tourism society. And the MOU in your package aligns what that society will follow.
Anyone have any questions on this?
I'll recommend to council that we adopt the memorandum of understanding or MOU related to the formation of the Regional Tourism Society.
And I'll second it.
Discussion?
I have a question and
We're
directors, page 2.
page 2.
Yeah, it says 11 directors. 4 of those directors would be counselors.
Correct.
Okay. Right, then 7 others.
Yes.
And then, do the 4 counselors that are directors they're not in charge of a committee or anything like that. They're just members of the board.
So those members are the executive committee,
Oh,
so
okay.
Councillor Osborne and then,
Okay.
Mr. Tro and so on, they're right into the board there.
So they're the executive.
Yes, so they do claim a seat, with the rest of the society members, and then the society will then direct the work throughout the step plan, like hiring the tourism
Okay,
manager.
got it. Thank you very much.
All in favor?
Okay.
Opposed? Motion carried. 9C is town vehicle purchase report.
Yes, thank you, Chair. Before we begin, I just want to say, or just say thank you to our Manager of Finance and our Manager, Director of Community Development, Aaron, for their hard work on the budget. The senior management team have been at this in depth for months, and for Helen, first time around the budget process at Studiac. I think she joined us last year. And the senior management team, I just want to say thank you to everyone involved in this, because there's a lot of work to pull it together, and appreciate everyone's diligence and the community for coming out, the consultations, the feedback that we got from council. So thank you. In terms of the vehicle report, staff, based on last year's budget, did have in last year's budget $40,000 approved in the capital budget to replace one of the town vehicles. Subsequently on the schedule, we got a second vehicle in the 2025-2026 capital budget for replacement. We've gone through the purchasing policy as required by staff. We issued a tender for the vehicles in accordance with the policy. The results of the tender process resulted in 2 bids. You'll see the bids in front of you. The Bruce Auto Group came in at $76,275. Norwegian's Automotive came in at $82,872. Those numbers are derived from the cost of the vehicles, but we've also received a substantial trade-in value on one of the town trucks that we trade in, which has resulted in us coming in under the budget should council approve the 2025-26 budget. And it's just been approved. We worked the agenda for that, but now we are approved. We are within the approved budget. We can proceed to put $4,000 under budget to get both vehicles. So with that, that's the report. I'll take any questions.
Okay. Anyone have any questions?
I'll make a motion that the town vehicle purchase be received, and that we recommend to council the purchase of the 2 vehicles from Bruce Auto Group in the amount of $76,275.
Moved by Councillor Osborne, you can second it, seconded by Councillor Roots. Discussion on the motion. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. 9D is the town hall building reports.
Okay, so thank you, Madam Chair. I am joined this evening by Avery Withrow, who's our building inspector, who's here to help me answer some questions. There's been a lot of questions in the community about infrastructure needs and the direction of town hall, town library, things like that. One of the things that has not been completed that hasn't been completed at all would be an inspection report on the town hall building. We're fully aware that this building is coming to the end of its life cycle. We asked our building department to complete a building inspection, which is required under the code to make sure that the building is either at code and or point out issues with the building in terms of the fire code and the building code, and we have a new accessibility code coming out. What that has resulted in is 3 pages of essential code violations, and it comes from a number of different sources. Avery to potentially walk us through some of those for council's reference, given a complete report to council. We'll go through the recommendations and we'll talk a little bit more about the implications once it is provided as a budget.
Thank you. For those of you who don't know me, my name is David Withrow. I am a certified fire inspector and certified building official. Thank you for inviting me here this evening to help answer any questions you may have. I'll give a little bit of background, regarding this building. This building has not had a previous fire inspection. It was built prior to the building code in Portsmouth, Nova Scotia. So our process was going through, it is also, this building is mandated by the Fire Safety Act of Nova Scotia to have a mandatory fire inspection. That is to occur once every 5 years. So of course, this is being the initial one in 2024, I believe. 2024, early 2025. So this building here. Oh, okay. This building here, through the Fire Safety Act, we review it through the National Park of Canada and what deficiencies are noted, through the report. Our process goes through the same process for any building that's mandated by the Fire Safety Act. And those deficiencies are outlined first as a notice, so it's not a legal document, but it's to bring these items to the owner's attention, to remediate those and be in compliance with the National Fire Code. With that, I hope you all had an opportunity to review it, and if you have any questions at this time, we can certainly help you out with that.
Thank you, Amy. Just before we get to the questions, I want to go over, some of the implications or options that we explored when looking at the report. In looking at, what the future could hold, town council could instruct staff to proceed with all the repairs and fixes needed on the building. We know that the current list of code violations provided by inspectors are significant. The town is responsible for correcting each item. We note that this option would likely result in the building needing to be taken down to the studs and rebuilt based on new codes, accessibility standards, designated substances. If that option would be selected, the town hall and library staff would need to be housed at a temporary location during any renovation project. So that would displace town hall staff should we renovate this building and bring it up to code. Option 2, the town could initiate the process to construct a new town hall on vacant town-owned properties. Knowing that previously the current town hall and library was ending or getting near the end of its building or end of its life cycle. The previous council purchased a property at 46 Main Street for the future town hall infrastructure needs. The land could be used for the purpose of a new building of a town hall or library, or for another town need as directed by council. Option 3, the town could look at additional options to house staff. The town owns the old Public Works building across from the current building, which would probably have a number of the same issues that this building has here, in terms of code violations, upkeep, renovations. We have the public space and community center. However, both buildings, community center and the Public Works building would need significant investment to meet town business needs and meet proper building codes. Those are the 3 options that we explored. Just in the preliminary phases of getting this report. We felt it prudent to bring this to council's attention because we need to plan for future infrastructure. We're at that point where we have no choice but to answer the code violations that are within the report. So with that, we can open up to questions. Avery's here, myself, we can take questions and go from there. And the report is for council's information only. There's no motion on the table.
Any questions?
I only have one question, and it's regarding what we call the Public Works building. And it's probably one of our last heritage buildings, I call heritage buildings in this town. So I would hate to see the town dispose of that building at all. So if we were looking at it and doing anything with that property, I would like to see a cost analysis of that. I think we've put substantial amount of money in it over the years. whether we use that for a library, whether we use it for office space, whatever, but I would like to see what kind of cost analysis it would be for that. Not necessarily for one of these options, but just to bring it back up.
Yeah, and I can speak to that. I think that's definitely something worth exploring. And a building like that, whether or not we use it for town purposes or not, it's got historical value, significance to the town. You know, should we find potential use for it, and potentially could be a tenant. It could be a situation where you renovate, bring it up to code, and use the revenue from renting or leasing to pay off the investment. Bring the building back to life. So fully aware that there are some issues in there that we have not looked at, we have not done. And that would be the next step with Pat and Avery to get over to the next building, figure out what are issues there. To be honest, we have not done a good job as a town and upkeeping our infrastructure. And going forward, we'll be working as a senior management staff to you know, make sure we have a 5-year capital plan, so we're making sure that, you know, as paint is required or shingles need to be changed, we're doing that on a schedule so that we don't run into issues like this. But unfortunately, we're running into an issue with a lot of our infrastructure and assets coming to the end of life cycle at once.
Oh, I had.
If we decide not to bring this building up to code, then there are other 2 options. So we chose option 1, well, just give me a second. No, I better find out what I'm talking about here. Option 2, build a new town hall, new library. How long would we have to put that into place and still be able to use this building?
That's a great question. I can have those conversations with our building inspectors. I know they've been flexible to work with us as long as we have a plan in place. We've done some upgrades in the last 6 months to make sure that we're moving towards code improvements. However, we need to respond in writing to ensure that we have a plan in place. So I have that conversation, you know, in the near future. We can go from there.
If I may add, that's absolutely right. You should have a plan in place. Obviously, a new building doesn't happen overnight. We certainly work with you as best we can. There are a number of items that are priority, that should have a decision being made sooner rather than later. There's also a number of items that are very easily fixed, maybe less priority, but would be not very costly to do, to help as well.
Okay. And we have not made any effort or put any energy into sourcing a new town hall or library, have we?
No, I have not, you know, focused any attention on this up to date. That's not in the direction of council. However, this report sparks the need to take that direction. My understanding is that there was some exploration done in the past previous to my joining the town, but I don't have all the details on it.
So really at the heart of it is the question of, if we fix up this building, it's gonna be X number of dollars, but if we build a new building, it's gonna be 4 times X, 5 times X. Where are we gonna get the money?
Yeah.
In either case, and is it appropriate or better to use the money just to fix this building up and then wait 10 years to build a new town hall?
So, great question. I think any investment in this building is going to be significant. I think at this point, the end of life cycle on this building, it would not be in the best interest of the town to focus our money on bringing this building back to life. I think it'd be better to focus on a new project that we can invest in and maintain for the future. With that brings a couple of opportunities, meaning the building does not have to be talking hall. We're talking wood stick construction. We're talking about, you know, large house just like we're in now. We could look at funding sources from the provincial and federal government. Potentially, you know, if we're successful, maybe plan for our 33% share. And then if we were to vacate this building, council would potentially have the option of potentially selling this building, utilizing the funds to offset our 33% investment in the other building. So there's creative ways, and then if you know, needed a small investment to offset the additional portion of 33%. Staff would come back with recommendations on how to deal with that. We haven't started exploring this. It's just more of a, we now know we need to move in the direction of exploring. We have a plan for the pieces of land that we have in town. And we need it to start moving forward with the planning to get the finances in place. Explore financing and go from there.
Thank you.
Any other questions? That was just for information purposes.
But, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. So.
So we'll move on to our committee reports, and we have two this evening, so starting with the audit committee report, which will be Councillor Osborne.
So the audit committee met on April the 23rd with the town's auditor from MNP. All the committee members were in attendance. The committee and staff will be working with the auditor during the months of May and June, with the anticipation of having the full audit report to council by July. I would like to let council know that we will have the full audit in our hands at least 1 week prior to the council presentation, so that everyone has time to review it. I'd like to really thank our manager of finance, Helen Young, for all her work on this and her dedication on the committee. And we're meeting again on Tuesday, May the 13th.
We also have a committee report in the business and tourism.
This is a little more lengthy report. Thank you, Deputy Mayor. The Business and Tourism Committee met on April the 24th to discuss the committee's vision, goals, and achievements that they would like to see for the upcoming 25-26 fiscal year. We had 6 members in attendance, and the discussion was held over a 2-hour interactive session. And I really want to thank Aaron Richard as well as Mark Schgens for helping us lead the discussion. The mayor was also in attendance. After much discussion and examination by all the committee members, the following was recommended as the primary role, and that is to attract business while supporting businesses that are already here, and communication with the businesses and the residents and other organizations like TCPEP and the Chamber. They also, regarding engaging the citizens to see what they would like in our town for businesses. And that would be done through the municipal strategic plan review when we get that up and running. So with all that said, when they came right down to it, the committee passed unanimously a motion that I bring tonight. And that is to change the committee's name from the Stewiacke Business and Tourism Committee to just the Stewiacke Business Committee. So with all of that, I'll first ask if there's any discussion before I move into the motion then.
Questions?
Okay, so as chair of the committee, I would like to make the motion that the Stewiacke Business and Tourism Committee be renamed to the Stewiacke Business Committee.
Moved by Councillor Osborne. Second. Seconded by Mayor Osborne. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor?
All right.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you very much.
We have no bylaws and policies this evening. We'll move into citizen comments if we have any.
We're here.
Perfect.
I really don't know what I'm hoping to accomplish, but I've tried every other avenue, so this is the only one I haven't tried, but for those of you that don't know, my name is Jeff Turple, I run the Stewiacke Stormwater Baseball. We work really, really hard building up baseball here in the community and also run a lot of adult tournaments and things like that. And I've worked really, really hard and really close with Aaron trying to get work done at the field, and I feel like I'm kind of running up the wall, I'm not getting anywhere. Every year I'm told we have budget approval for soil, but I can't get Jeff to order it. He tells me he doesn't need it. And then he waits until provincials and finally does the work just before I bring provincials to town. When I feel like I'm forced to cancel a lot of tournaments that bring business to the town. I'm forced to cancel a lot of practices to take the kids off the field. And that's all due to the work not being done to the field that needs to be done. We have some of the most beautiful fields around. I travel all over Nova Scotia. And people come here all the time, they compliment how great the fields are, but yet one day, like if it rains one day on a Wednesday, there's not a chance we can play on Thursday. But yet in North River, our sister field, who uses the exact same soil from the same supplier, they're on the field the next day after rain, because their fields are built up more. But I'm continually told that they don't need soil, when they quite obviously do, there's big ruts and big holes. So, yeah, I really don't know what I'm hoping to accomplish, I've never done this before, but I put in a lot of work down there, and I just feel like I'm not getting that little bit back that I'm asking for. So,
Okay, thank you very much for
Thank you.
your comments. Do you have any other citizen comments this evening? Online?
8 participants online, and there are no comments in the chat.
We'll move on to number 12, the mayor's report.
I have a couple of things that I would like to say this evening. First, we were in Churro. We went to a funding announcement for the Churro Stampede for their town days planning. Over the past few weeks, we have met with many of the developers, the water treatment plant, and the potential of a new building. We've met with business people where we should go as far as the building and what we were doing. We've had public meetings, again, for the water. We've had a lot of meetings about the water treatment plant. We've had 3-day convention in Churro for the Nova Scotia Federation of Municipalities. Last night, it was very poor attendance, but we had a town hall meeting for the public with the RCMP. Many conversations we've had about south of the border and what's going on in the direction, basically, of our town. Paving of Main Street between Highway 2 and the track should be starting shortly. Just a thought that I had, we as a council have some hard choices that we have to make. Some of them should have been done years ago. We have to remember that nothing stays the same. It's all about change. And no matter how hard we all try, we'll never make everybody happy. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll move into the councillor reports, and we'll start with Councillor Osborne.
I also attended the Nova Scotia Federation of Municipalities meeting. Probably the standout for me was the session on what was first posed as affordable housing, but ended up as attainable housing. And it's with the Nova Scotia Cooperative Council. I think we have opportunities here in this town to be able to partner with them and bring some attainable housing to our town. There's many people out there that are struggling to keep their roof over their head, as well as some food on the table. And if there's something that we can do to partner and help bring attainable housing to our town, I think we should do it. As well as PAC and audit and business and tourism. You've seen that, as well as bylaw with the deputy mayor. I also attended the funding announcement for the Stampede. And I was really pleased to see all of us there last night for the RCMP meeting. It's unfortunate that we only had 2 residents come out. That's it for me.
Councillor LeBlanc.
I also attended the Nova Scotia Federation of Municipality Conference last week. Attended the PAC not only meetings, but a town hall that was held here at the library. And was present to hear the RCMP talk about their policing activities in the community. And I found it very eye-opening how much time, effort, and energy they are putting into being here, not necessarily because they want to be here, but they are here on I think 269 days, 269 incidents in a year, I think was the figure. It's in my book. And so what I want to say is, just because we don't see them driving down the road doesn't mean they're not here. And it doesn't mean they're doing things. Particularly in traffic control, issuing tickets and so forth. So all I'm saying, just to repeat myself, is they are working diligently on our behalf.
Yeah, I also attended the RCMP town hall and I found it very informative, very interesting, and I'm really glad the RCMP were able to come here and put that on for us, for the town.
Perfect. Nothing, good to see you. So with that, I guess we'll move in.
I'll make a motion that we move in camera at 7:50.
By Councilor Osborne.
I'll second that.
You know, and then I need to be excused for it.
Okay.
Okay, with that, we will log in.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And thank you guys.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, Jeff, do you second?
Yep.
Cause I used to play